I'm not here to talk about divorce. I'm not here to talk about betrayal. I'm here to talk about something much quieter, something most people don't notice until it's already been there for years. I'm 78 years old. I've been married for more than 5 decades. For most of my life, I believed that if nothing was falling apart, then everything must be fine. We paid our bills. We showed up to family gatherings. We shared a home, a routine, a long list of responsibilities. From the outside, our life looked steady, respectable, complete. And for a long time, I took comfort in that. We didn't lose our marriage in a dramatic way. There was no moment where everything suddenly broke. No argument that changed the course of our lives. No single day I could point to and say, that's when it ended. Instead, things faded quietly. When we were younger, we talked about everything. Small things, ordinary things, stories from work, thoughts that didn't have a clear point. Even silence felt shared back then. We were curious about each other, about how the other one saw the world. As the years passed, life became busier. Careers, children, schedules, responsibilities. We told ourselves this was normal, that closeness changes over time, that a long marriage doesn't need constant conversation to survive. So we adapted. We spoke every day, but mostly about tasks. What needed to be bought? Who was picking up what? What appointment was coming up next? These conversations were efficient, polite, familiar. And because there were no arguments, I believed we were doing something right. People around us said the same thing. You're lucky. Not many couples make it this far. At least you're still together. Those words felt reassuring, like proof that our quiet life meant a successful one. But little by little, something important disappeared. We stopped sharing the small details of our days. Not because we didn't care, but because we assumed the other already knew. We stopped asking real questions, not out of indifference, but out of habit. We laughed together less, not because we were unhappy, just because we were tired. I didn't notice when curiosity faded. I didn't notice when listening turned into waiting for my turn to speak. I didn't notice when silence stopped feeling comfortable and started feeling empty. It happened so slowly that I never thought to call it a loss. Silence doesn't arrive with a warning. It doesn't announce itself. It settles in quietly and asks nothing of you. There was one evening I remember very clearly. I'd heard something earlier that day. Not bad news, just something meaningful. Years ago, she would have been the first person I wanted to tell. I walked into the kitchen. She was standing there doing what she always did. The room looked exactly the same as it always had, and I stood there not knowing how to begin, not because I was afraid, but because I realized I hadn't shared something real with her in a very long time. The moment passed. I said nothing. The words stayed inside me. That night, I felt something I had never felt before in our marriage. Not anger, not sadness, just a quiet sense of distance that I couldn't explain. After that, I started noticing things I had ignored for years. Evenings where we sat in the same room but lived in different thoughts. Meals that ended without stories. Days that felt full yet strangely untouched by connection. No one was doing anything wrong, and that was what made it so difficult to see. For a long time I told myself this was simply what long marriages looked like. That depth naturally fades. That familiarity replaces closeness. That being beside someone is the same as being with them. I was wrong. Being together for a long time doesn't guarantee connection. Time alone doesn't protect a relationship. Presence does. We still cared for each other in familiar ways, reminding each other about medication, asking if the other had eaten, making sure the door was locked at night. From the outside, it looked like love, but inside something was missing. I began to understand a hard truth. We didn't lose love because we stopped caring. We lost connection because we stopped showing up emotionally. We chose comfort over conversation, quiet over curiosity, routine over presence. And none of those choices felt dangerous at the time. That's the part no one warns you about. A big argument hurts once. Silence takes something away every day. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't create a moment you can point to. It simply becomes normal. By the time I understood what we had lost, we had already been living that way for years. I didn't lose my marriage. I lost the person living beside me. And I didn't notice when it happened. Now, as I sit here, my wife is still under the same roof. We still share meals. We still live side by side. But the distance between us feels larger than ever. Not because of resentment. Not because love is gone. But because we grew used to not reaching for each other. At this age, I don't know how much time I have left, and I don't know if there's enough time to return to what we once had. Some things, when left untouched for too long, become difficult to approach again, not because they can't be spoken, but because you no longer know where to begin. I'm not sharing this to place blame. I'm sharing it because I wish someone had told me this sooner. Closeness doesn't fade all at once. It fades when we stop asking, when we stop listening, when we stop being curious about the person who has been walking beside us for years. If you still have time, don't wait for a perfect moment. Ask one real question. Listen without rushing. Presence doesn't require grand gestures, only intention. If this story feels familiar, I hope it doesn't scare you. I hope it reminds you. You don't need to fix everything today. You don't need to have the perfect words. Sometimes, one moment of genuine attention is enough to keep a connection alive for another day. The greatest regret isn't losing someone suddenly. It's realizing you were there the whole time, but not truly present. And that's a lesson I learned later than I wish I had before time runs out.